Peace out. For my informative speech, I am talking on the subject of cheerleading. There are two ideas of cheerleading that people have. There's sideline high school cheerleading, and there's all-star cheerleading, which all-star cheerleading is a lot of times there's all-star cheerleading all around, just like there's high school. But Twist and Shout is one of the places that I did all-star cheerleading at. And that's really the main, when people think of being an all-star cheerleader, they think of Twist and Shout cheerleaders. But a lot of times, if you were to ask somebody or tell somebody, oh, I'm a cheerleader, they're like, oh, well, that's not a sport. Cheerleading's not a sport. Well, about 3 years ago, high school cheer actually became ruled a sport by the OSSAA rules and regulations. You have to compete in their competitions, but it's considered a sport. Anything that has practice for more than an hour after the school time, after, normally normal school is from about 8 to 3:15, 3:45, depending. Anything that has a practice before 8 o'clock or after 3:15 is considered a sport because you have an allotted amount of time for practice. There's also no, limit on how many times you can practice. But all-star cheer, it's like a whole different world compared to cheerleading. All-star cheer, they're actually athletes. Whenever I was on the team, we practiced normally 2 to 3 days a week, and then you were in a different state, in a different city for competitions almost every week from about November to May, June-ish. It just depends on how far your team goes. But a lot of people say, oh, cheerleading isn't a sport. Well, that's not true. That's just your opinion. Cheerleading actually has there's been more injuries in cheerleading, in all-star cheerleading, than there has been football. A lot of people would argue with that, or basketball, but a lot of people would argue with that, but it's true. There's been more torn ACLs, broken wrists, and broken ankles in cheerleading than there has been in any other sport combined. Because cheerleading, you're using your own body weight with nothing else. Football, yeah, you're running at each other full speed, but you have helmet, you have shoulder pads, you have all kinds of pads. Cheerleading, it is you and the other person. You're trusting somebody to hold your whole body weight underneath you that's probably not too much heavier than you are. They're basically lifting your own body weight. Also, the flipping and the tumbling about it. What am I trying to say?
Constant.
It's just constant. You don't just wake up one day and figure out how to do it. I was a cheerleader. I started gymnastics whenever I was 2 years old. And there's been a lot of girls that I've stayed in contact with. And you lose how to do it if you don't do it every day. So, to stay at the level that you want to be at, to stay at a high level, you have to continue to do it every day. Just like there's a lot of people that go out for basketball and football. And, you may not be the best of players, but you can do that. Being an all-star cheerleader, you can't just wake up after 16, 17 years of your life and decide to just become a cheerleader. You won't be able to tumble, you won't be able to do the stunting or the choreography or any of that. A lot of times, too, even both all-star and high school, you put in, all kinds of hours of work. My high school team, for instance, we had tryouts, but we basically started our season in May and ended our season the following May. We did year-round. We did football, we did basketball, and we also did competition. And during the summer, we practiced 3 days a week, and then during the school year, we practiced almost every day after school. And then we went to the OSSAA competition. And a lot of schools, there was 27 or or 28 schools in our division, they would agree cheerleading is a sport, just like All-Star. All-Star, there are thousands and thousands of teams at each and every competition. And also, too, football and basketball and track and all these sports out there have scholarship opportunities, just like cheerleading. Cheerleading out there, OSSAA has allowed scholarships to be made and sent out to cheerleaders to go to schools to cheer, just like All-Star. All-Star has, Twist and Shout. They are affiliated with Oklahoma State University, and just about any senior cheerleader has the opportunity to try out and be awarded scholarships to go on to cheer at Oklahoma State University. And you can request other ones like Oklahoma University, or there's girls that went to OSU, OU, Baylor, TCU, just different schools around. So my whole point is just that cheerleading is a sport, and a lot of people would argue, but it's a sport and it's been ruled a sport by every organization.